evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada around the world. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a fellow of Real Estate of Canada, broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage, and I'm the host of Realty Coffee Talk. Tonight we're going to talk about high cost of private lending. So before I talk about the subject, I like to inform you that I'm a principal broker, license number M08002130 of Canada Express Mortgage, FISRA, license number 13241. I have specialized training in private lending. There is a special requirement. If anyone dealing with the private lending, they must get this training and certificate of training and registered with the FISRA. So make sure that you can talk about the topic. Recently, Bank of Canada has policy rate, again, 0.25%, that affected many borrowers. It's not only affects the mortgage rate, variable rates, it also affect the consumer debts. When you have a line of credit or variable mortgage, it affects you. And approximately 0.25%, depending on the value of the mortgage, it costs about $59 to $60 more per month in interest payment. It has affected lots of consumers who have variable mortgage, and at the beginning of this year 2022 in 23, the mortgage lending was about 2.45%. Now we have 7.2% prime rate, so it has doubled, more than 3 times. So if you have borrowed money for 100,000, you were paying 2.49% annually. Now you are paying 7.25, same for the same amount you borrowed a year ago. So when we talk about the private lending, that means you are asking an individual or a corporation to give you money. When you go to the bank, why we go to the private lending? Because interest rates have gone up. Therefore, pre-qualification or qualifying your loan for the mortgage, you can qualify. And you need extra money to put down toward the original mortgage so you can qualify for the conventional mortgage. So you borrow a second mortgage because you are short of mortgage amount, fund, or down payment. When you bought the property and then the time you are ready to close, there is a gap of $50,000 to $100,000 because your appraisal came lower, because bank will only do the appraisal and complete the file 10 days before closing. So if appraisal came lower at the time of closing, the bank will not lend you that money, so you will be forced to go to the private lender to get the money. So first, the person who is working with you as a brokerage and the person who is representing the brokerage must have a private lending course. Secondly, you must have, and you are borrowing money. For example, there are a couple of scenarios. First scenario is that you need to borrow some money for supporting your kid or some other expenses that you might have in the family. But you have a tremendous equity. Unfortunately, your 2 years of mortgage income average with the debt load you carry is called total debt service, TDS, is higher than 44%, the bank will not lend you money. They say, why don't you go to a B lender or a private lender and come back to us when you have a next year. they have to have 2 years of continuous good income to qualify you, and based on your qualification, they tell you what is the ceiling, what is the maximum loan you can have. Regardless of that, you have a tremendous equity in your home value. So you will be left with two options: either to borrow a money to take care of your contingency if you need funds, or you need to get a second mortgage, a short 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. And we're going to talk about the cost. Or second option will be to sell your property, because when you are borrowing the money, you are paying interest rate. Interest rate in a private lending can go 11 to 14%. So if you can afford now 6-7% from the bank, how are you going to afford the cost from a private lender? Only thing is, maybe your problem is temporary, and in a few months you anticipate more money is coming and you can pay off this loan. Now, when you are reaching, if you need a private lending for residential or commercial, you can call my office 905-785-9926, or call me directly 416-451-3489, and I'll be more than happy to guide you what would be the best solution. But remember that when you are dealing with the private lending, you're going to be paying fees. Private fees means the broker will charge you 1, 2, or 3%. The lender can charge you 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5%, depending on it. I was recently requesting a private lending for a friend of mine, and the lending through the bank, a private lending, was charging almost 5.9% lender fee plus 13.99% as a loan. So I said, well, I am a principal broker and I have my own network, so I'm going to try to get lending, and I was able to get a little bit lower rate, but they're expensive. So there are a couple of things you have to watch. Number one, when you're dealing with a broker and it's a private lending, you will be signing a commitment with the brokerage, even with my company. Depending on the value, I charge between 1 and 2%. So you have to pay this fee, and probably this fee may be coming from the loan that you're going to be getting it, or you will have to give some funds when the commitment is already made. Obviously, amount has to be defined. Then we have to choose the broker. We have a choice to check with many brokers who give the lenders who give the private lending. So we recruit, we select, and we search and find the best solution for our client. Because of specialized training, there is a disclosure issues, there is a risk assessment issues, and there is a suitability issue for the client. So these are mandatory requirements, that the lender disclosure, borrower's disclosure. There are certain documents that needs to be signed and disclosed, and risk needs to be assessed to make sure what we are doing for a borrower can handle it. So basically, what is the interest rate? Lots of rates people are using. Lender are using prime plus 4 or 5%, RBC or CIBC, any prime rate. They talk about the payment. So you have to look at the duration of the term, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And after that duration, if you continue to maintain that, you might have to pay lender fees again. These are part of the fee. And most importantly, the lawyer has to be lenders. So the lender will charge you a lot of money. So you can anticipate 2-3% of the amount that you borrow for the brokerage, the lender, 2% for the brokerage, and almost 2.5-3% for the lawyer. you not only have to pay to the lender's lawyer, but you also pay to your own lawyer. Remember, if you are dealing with a conventional mortgage, you go to the lawyer, they charge you about $300, $350. But here, it could be in thousands. And obviously, plus title insurance, blah, 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 that will be high, very significantly. I would say almost 7 to 8% of 100,000 if you borrow. If you borrow 100,000, approximately $7,000 to $8,000 will cost you to borrow 100,000. I'll give you an example of that. So then obviously you set a period when you want to pay down. Why would a lender give you money? First of all, they check two things. Number one, that you own the property. Number two, that you have a sufficient equity in the house. Because if you do not pay and default, there are so many clauses, we can go through it. And it'll be more difficult. So that's why it's very, very important for you to set up an account to make sure you have sufficient funds stay in there. You also have the option, and you can pay in advance. You tell the lender to hold your 12-month interest from the loan that you're borrowing, and you have to pay. So you will be signing a disclosure and a term sheet, and they might ask you to pay $1,000 or $2,000 to your lawyer because you already signed a sheet, a commitment that you are willing to work with them. So, and obviously, you're disclosing that you are willing to take this loan, you're satisfied with the risk involved in getting this second mortgage. Because what happens is that when you are taking a second mortgage, the lender will check to see on title or land registry how many mortgages are registered. Let's assume that you borrowed a mortgage and you're about 4 or 5 years ago, and you're continuing to work with the same bank. At that time, they assessed value of your property, let's say $1.8, $1.9 million, and you borrowed $600,000. Would you believe it or not, they will protect up to the appraised value of the property when they give this loan to you. Therefore, the second mortgage guy look at the property and they say, what is the assessed value of your property today? If your assessed property value is not significantly higher than what was given before, their interest rate will go up because there is no equity left for the second mortgage, and they might not give you the loan because first priority is covered the first loan. But if they have already covered up to 7 or 1.8%, and the loan is only 6, so they will want you to get a statement from the lender to show what is the current value of your mortgage. So your mortgage, for example, is $600,000. Your assessed value 6 years ago was 1.8, so it's very likely it's going to be 2.9, 2.8, or maybe 3 million now. So there is a plenty of equity in the house. Therefore, me lender guy or a private lender have no problem giving you money. Now they will see how you're going to pay back this money, because this is only for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. So there are two solutions for that. Number one, that if you anticipate that by the time you reach that maturity of this private lending, you may be able to go to your original bank who can give you the mortgage at higher rates, and you can borrow against the home equity line and pay off this private loan. Now, there are lots of clauses and risk involved with if you default on that. So if you have any specific question, you can give me a call. I can explain you. There's a lot of things you have to remember. They want to know that have you paid your property taxes? Make sure you have paid your property taxes. If you did not pay your property taxes, they will not lend you money. Or they lend you money, that payment from that loan will go toward paying property taxes. Also, you must pay your CRA dues. If you did not pay your CRA dues, they will not give you loan, because that is the highest priority. Pay CRA, your taxes. So now you have provided them bank statement about your mortgage, current mortgage, line of credit, property taxes, your income that you can justify, T4A or T4 or notice of assessment, to demonstrate that you have the ability, you have just an urgent need, short period of time to take care of few urgent matters in the family, therefore you are doing it. So this is why it's very, very important that you have all these documents available to you. This is no way different than the regular mortgage you go to the private bank. The private lender, they don't care about anything else. They want to make sure you have paid your taxes, you have paid your property taxes, and you have a significant equity, and you have demonstrated them your ability to pay the loan and the interest rate for the period that you want. They go away with everything else. They will ask you bank statement to show that you have the money coming, because there are some. Because what happens is they will ask you to give a pre-authorization to draw the money, and obviously it is done through the lawyer. So the lawyer, the bank's lawyer will, or the private lending lawyer is the one who's going to give money to your lawyer. And it's just like a regular second mortgage, like anything, that they will putting a lien or a charge of second mortgage on the title. And this is very, very important. You have to understand. When somebody be looking at your mortgage or you want to sell your property, they have the priority, second priority, because after the mortgage, first mortgage, the UBOA. So they will be listing it on the, and make sure when they are doing it, they do not put more than the amount that you are borrowing. Some lender will ask for appraisal. Some have a direct system within their own system to do the assessment, but they know the market very well. So your house is their security as a collateral, and then they will be registering a charge on the property, and currency. Which currency are you going to pay? In Canadian funds, US payment, Canadian, and in case they're going to be a default clause, just like regular mortgage. If you fail to pay your payment, there are so many expenses, and they will exercise their rights. A lot of clauses, and this mortgage cannot be voided. You have to pay off before you do that. And depending on this, you can have an open, fixed term, or fixed for 3 months and then open, and there could be a penalty clause. That means if you want to terminate any time, you give them a 30 days notice, and also you will have to give 1 month penalty. So this is normally, this all depends on this. And you cannot merge the second mortgage with the first one. And also, and generally speaking, who will manage the mortgage? So the bank will also charge, the private lender must be registered as a, what they call, as a administrator. And they have a special license. They have to create a trust account because they will be managing also. So this is why they have to charge a fee to them, and obviously if there is a late payment or default payment or other issues, there's a huge list of things that you have to go through. There's a lots of charges and payments and notices, and you want to make sure the payment is made on a specific time of day. And it's very important that property taxes are paid regularly and you're notified. And you can give posted a check, or you can draw money directly against the house, and all applicable laws with private lending, and as long as you are licensed. So I am a principal broker of Canada Express Mortgage license number 13241. So if I start collecting trust funds and manage the mortgages, I have to get administrative license and also get a trust account that manages the money coming in and going to the lender, money coming in from the borrower going to the lender. So these are lots of statutory requirement and declaration that we have to make, and also to make sure the property is maintained well, and you are not really violating any laws. So once the property charge is done, and the lender will send the money to your lawyer to give you money. Normally this can be speeded about, I would say in normal case, about 10 days you can get the money. But in case of urgency, faster things can be done. So we're going to continue to have a conversation, and then we talk about the other conditions, because there are so many pitfalls in terms of cost. But a solution is there in case you temporarily need some money, and obviously family cannot support you, and your bank will not qualify you. They want you to have 2 years of income, verified income. Therefore, you end up with a private lending. A lot of construction companies are doing a private lending, or commercial lending for also private lending, where they cannot get it loan from the regular bank. So we're going to take a short break. We'll come back and we'll continue our conversation on high cost of private lending.
हसीन लगना तो सभी चाहते हैं, मगर हुस्न का निखार तभी मुमकिन है जब आपका स्टाइलिस्ट हो एक्सपर्ट एंड क्वालिफाइड। ब्यूटी बार एंड ब्राइडल, ऑल एक्सपर्टीज इन वन पॉइंट। हमारे यहाँ थ्रेडिंग, लेटेस्ट फेशियल ट्रीटमेंट, बेस्ट बॉडी वैक्सिंग, मेकओवर जैसा आप चाहें, जबरदस्त ब्राइडल पैकेज, मैनिक्योर, पेडिक्योर, केराटिन ट्रीटमेंट, क्रायो हेयर ट्रीटमेंट और बहुत कुछ जो आपके हुस्न को 4 चांद लगा दे। तो देर किस बात की, अभी विजिट कीजिए ब्यूटी बार एंड ब्राइडल। वी आर लोकेटेड एट 5150 डिक्सी रोड, यूनिट 6, मिसिसागा। अवार्ड विनिंग इंडियन ब्यूटी सैलून। For appointments, call now 437-324-2885. Beauty Bar and Bridal, one stop beauty salon.
मुसलमान होने के नाते हमें इस बात पे फख्र है कि हम हलाल तरीके से जिंदगी गुजार रहे हैं। लेकिन आपको इस बात का कैसे पता चलेगा जिन हेल्थ सप्लीमेंट्स का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं वो हलाल हैं या नहीं? पेश करते हैं न्यूट्रिलक्स। हमारे पास बेहतरीन क्वालिटी और रेंज ऑफ हेल्थ सप्लीमेंट्स मौजूद हैं जो कि हलाल सर्टिफाइड हैं और 100% वीगन हैं। बच्चों के लिए हमारे पास मजेदार गमी की शक्ल में विटामिन्स मौजूद हैं जो उनकी जरूरी गजाइयत को हासिल करना आसान और खुशगवार बनाते हैं। मर्दों के लिए हमारे सप्लीमेंट सेहतमंद और तंदुरुस्त रहने का आसान तरीका पेश करते हैं, चाहे आप एक एथलीट हो, बिजी प्रोफेशनल या पेरेंट। खवातीन के लिए हमारे सप्लीमेंट्स हैं जो आपकी मजमूई सेहत और तंदुरुस्ती में मदद करते हैं, चाहे आप अपनी एनर्जी को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं या अपने स्किन और बालों को सेहतमंद रखना चाहते हैं। और बुजुर्गों के लिए हमारे टैबलेट्स आपकी सेहत की खुसूसी जरूरियात को पूरा करने और आपकी उम्र के साथ साथ आपको एक्टिव और इंडिपेंडेंट रहने में एक अहम किरदार अदा करती है। न्यूट्रिलक्स सप्लीमेंट्स जिंदगी के हर मरहले के लिए, ताकि आप अपने हलाल अख्तार पर कायम रह सकें।
इश्क दा कुक्कड़ बंगा देवे, बंगा देवे, बंगा देवे।
सांसों की माला पे सिमरू मैं पी का नाम। तेरे इश्क दिया खरा मंदिया कबूतर उड़ार छोड़े आजा मैं तेनू प्यार करा।
HK Movers, home, offices, apartments and delivery, big or small, we move it all.
HK Movers.
Local and long distance, we also ship cars, trailer transport and moving services.
For service with a smile, give us a call.
Call Mr. Harminder 416-524-6704.
416-524-6704 पे.
Visit 140 Advanced Boulevard, Unit number 10, Brampton.
Long distance moving specialist.
HK Movers. HK Movers.
Welcome to EB Electronics. EB Electronics. Please call 647-762-3956.
डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस पिछले 16 सालों से खरीदारों की खिदमत कर रहे हैं। हम लगातार 4 सालों से खरीदारों की पहली पसंद बने रहने का अवार्ड हासिल कर चुके हैं। हम किचनर्स, बॉश, वर्लपूल, एलजी, सैमसंग और जनरल इलेक्ट्रिक के ऑथराइज्ड डीलर हैं। 5 स्टार खिदमत का लुत्फ लें। हम आप सभी को टीवी सबसे ज्यादा रियायती दामों पर देने की गारंटी देते हैं। www.dixieelectronics.ca हमारी वेबसाइट पर जाएं या अभी कॉल करें 905-625-5900। सभी बहुत ही मुनासिब कीमत पर दस्तयाब हैं जो आप आसानी से ले सकते हैं। At Dixie, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
Zoc. Now it's fully renovated. Live catering, barbecue, tandoor, जलेबियाँ और fresh naan. तकरीब आपके घर में हो या घर से बाहर, Zoc is providing full service now, and Zoc has opened a new banquet hall, garden event center. आपका Zoc देखकर लोग कहेंगे क्या Zoc है आपका? Call right now 905-625-7786. Zoc वालों के लिए.
Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awards Entertainment. My name is Tahir. I'm a fellow of Rolls Issue of Canada and broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. I'm also the principal broker of Canada Express Mortgage license number 13241. My license as a principal broker is M08002130. We're talking about high cost of private lending. So we're going to talk about, there are so much declaration, clarity, investment, direction, environmental, and principal residence, disclosure that you have to make and sign these documents is unbelievable. I believe that my mortgage lending documents directly from the bank are much smaller than what I go through with the private lending. But unfortunately, that's what it is. You have to pay. So when you are borrowing money from the bank, you go through certain project, a certain cost. And similarly, when you go through with the private lender, they will also get a title insurance. They also do the search, charge, registered on the title. They will also have reimbursement and information technology charges and blah, blah, blah. They adds up. So I'm telling you in terms of costing, cost of borrowing, you anticipate about 5 to 6% in brokerage fee. That includes the broker fee and lender fee, 5 to 6% average, okay? Lower fee, depending, including all the cost, could run into 3 to 5%. I'm talking about the lender's lawyer before the money land in your hand. Now you have to pay your lawyer fee. So all cumulatively, you're looking at almost 8 to 10% cost. That's the cost of borrowing because documentation is unbelievable. How detailed, how thorough it is. And then you talk about interest rate. Interest rates are high. Depending on the first mortgage or second mortgage, there are some lenders who are giving lower than the 10%. There are lenders who charge 1% also. It all depends on your credential, your qualification, your ability to pay, and you have very clear, good record of or demonstrated record of paying the bill. It's just that you got tracked. Now, 1 out of 3 Canadian normally will be renewing the mortgage this year, whether it is a fixed or variable. They are faced with dilemma to cover the expenses because I have a mortgage, is 1.69, is good until 26. So I'm happy that I did a very good decision at that time to extend it. I did a mortgage, small mortgage, but I advancedly increase and extend the time, but I renewed it 6 months before my renewal date, and I got lucky. I got a 1.69. So I put it through 5 years, so I don't have to worry about it. But on the line of credit that I use for my personal support, I was paying 2.49. Now I'm paying 7.25. Still better than private lending. But the private lending is a solution. It's cost high. You are now in this predicament. Should I sell my house